Spoiler warning. Star Trek Discovery's Mirrors, the 5th episode of Season 5, concludes with Captain Michael Burnham and the USS Discovery's crew struggling to process shocking revelations regarding L'ak's species, the ISS Enterprise in the Mirror Universe, and the next clue in the search for the Progenitors' treasure. Directed by Jen McGowan and written by Johanna and Carlos Cisco, the exciting Mirrors transports Burnham and Cleveland Booker into interdimensional space in response to a clue from Moll and L'ak and the third Progenitors. However, they discover far more than they anticipated. Interdimensional space, a perilous area separating Star Trek's Prime and Mirror universes, destroys both Burnham's shuttle and L'ak's ship, trapping Captain Burnham, Cleveland Booker, Moll, and L'ak aboard the abandoned ISS Enterprise in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 5. Using the tractor beam of the Enterprise, Michael cleverly signals the USS Discovery in distress. Commander Rayner and the bridge crew manage to keep the interdimensional space wormhole's aperture open long enough for the ISS Enterprise to pass through. But L'ak and Moll disappear, leaving Burnham, Book, and the Starfleet heroes to puzzle over the third hint leading to the Progenitors' treasure and the information they discovered in the wormhole.
Help us find the clue and Moll and L'ak if they're here.
Subscribe to Movie Spy for more twist videos. Captain Kirk's Mirror Universe ISS Enterprise now belongs to the 32nd Century Starfleet. It's been a long road for the ISS Enterprise. At the conclusion of Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 5, Mirrors, the ISS Enterprise from the Mirror Universe is acquired by the United Federation of Planets and Starfleet of the 32nd Century. Lieutenant Commanders Johanna and Kayla Detmer, who don't really show up in the episode, were given the task by Captain Burnham of piloting the ISS Enterprise back to Federation HQ so that it may be placed in storage. But Dr. Kovich is sure to be interested in the acquisition of such a significant historical artifact as a Constitution-class starship from the 23rd century, loaded with technology from the Mirror Universe and powered by the Terran Empire. The USS Enterprise sets of Star Trek: Odd New Worlds served as the filming location for the ISS Enterprise scenes in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 5. Production on Discovery Season 5 began at the end of 2022, following the conclusion of Strange New Worlds Season 2 in June and well in advance of the commencement of Strange New Worlds Season 3 filming in December 2023. The bridge, medical bay, transporter room, and hallways of the USS Enterprise were reconfigured to transform the spacecraft into its counterpart in the Mirror Universe. Uncovering the Mirror Universe in Star Trek Discovery, we learned the fate of Mirror Saru and Mirror Spock. After Mirror from Star Trek, the original series, numerous major doubts regarding the events of the Mirror Universe were addressed by the ISS Enterprise's visit in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 5. The plaque where the vanished crew of the Enterprise left their story revealed to Cleveland Booker that the Terran High Chancellor had been killed following reforms. This alludes to Spock, Leonard Nimoy, of the Mirror Universe, who was persuaded to implement changes by Captain James T. Kirk of the Prime Universe in order to avert the Terran Empire's impending collapse, which nevertheless transpired. In the 23rd century, refugees using the ISS Enterprise were able to escape the Mirror Universe for the Prime Universe under the leadership of Saru, Doug Jones, a former slave turned rebel. However, the starship became stuck in interdimensional space. In an attempt to reach the Prime Universe, the Enterprise's crew eventually abandoned the starship using the shuttles and escape pods on board. A few people managed to survive, including Dr. Cho, the junior scientific officer on board the ISS Enterprise, who went on to join Starfleet and eventually attained the rank of Branch Admiral in the 24th century. With a Breen bounty on their heads, Moll and L'ak managed to evade discovery. L'ak is the Breen Primarch's nephew. The backstory of L'ak and Moll was disclosed in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Episode 5, along with the information that L'ak is Breen. Prior to the events of Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Moll worked as a courier for the Breen Imperium, selling latinum. It was at this time that she met L'ak, the nephew of Rune, Tony Napo, the Primarch of the Breen, who had fallen from favor and was employed in the shuttle bay. After falling in love, L'ak betrayed Moll by sleeping with a lesser being and taking off his helmet to reveal his true identity, which was a felony against the Breen. When his uncle confronted L'ak, he shot the Primarch and took Moll with him. With a Breen blood bounty on their heads, Moll and L'ak are hoping to buy their freedom by discovering the Progenitors' treasure and selling it to the Breen. Captain Burnham offers Moll Moll and L'ak assistance from the Federation, but they both say they would rather die than be imprisoned together in a Federation facility. After getting into a fight with Burnham, L'ak was hurt, but Moll and L'ak decided to escape in one of the ISS Enterprise's surviving warp pods rather than go to the USS Discovery for medical assistance. This time, though, Moll and L'ak left a warp trail that Discovery was able to follow. Cleveland Booker attempts to relate to Moll's father was not present, and Booker served as his mentor. Cleveland Booker wants to help save Moll for personal reasons. Moll Booker, Moll's real name, is the daughter of Cleveland Booker IV, Book's late mentor. Moll's father left her and her mother behind in order to work as a courier and earn the money required to relocate his family to the Gamma Quadrant. But Booker IV's hazardous job as a courier and his business contacts with criminal groups such as the Emerald Chain forced him to stay far away from Moll, who held him responsible for abandoning her. To accomplish what her father did not do, and to get enough latinum to relocate to the Gamma Quadrant, Moll became a courier like him. However, when she fell in love with L'ak and the Breen put a blood price on their heads, Moll's entire world changed. Although Moll is opposed to having Cleveland Booker in her life, she gives in when given the opportunity to murder the guy who stole her father's name. It remains to be seen whether Moll will ever view Book the way Book sees her, as the only family she has left. Commander Raynor maximized the potential of the USS Discovery crew, a zesty treat for all. Despite Commander Raynor's misgivings about heading Burnham's crew, Burnham left her and Book at the USS Discovery's funnel while she and Book embarked on their away mission. But Raynor was pleased that Burnham had studied Kelleran literature in order to establish a rapport with her new first officer. Raynor's ability to save Burnham from interdimensional space depended on this knowledge. Burnham sent a signal that the captain of Kelleran could interpret using the tractor beam of the ISS Enterprise. In order to science, a means of opening the wormhole's aperture and dragging the ISS Enterprise into the Prime Universe, Commander Raynor put his faith in the crew of the USS Discovery. Anthony Rapp portrays Commander Paul Stamets. The characters who stepped up to save Burnham and Book were Lieutenant Sylvia Tilly, Mary Wiseman, Ensign Adira Tal, Blue Del Barrio, Lieutenant Commander General Reese, Patrick Quackshune, Lieutenant Christopher, Orville Cummings, Lieutenant Linus, David Benjamin Tomlinson, Lieutenant Naya, Victoria Saul, Lieutenant Commander Asha, Christina Dixon, and Lieutenant Gallo, Natalie LeConte. Raynor so developed a fresh respect for the Discovery team and learned how to collaborate with them as a member of his own crew. Dr. Culber contacts Tilly. Culber has inquiries that science is unable to resolve. Dr. Hugh Culber, Wilson Cruz, the counselor aboard the USS Discovery, wants a counselor of his own. In Original, the third episode of Star Trek, Discovery's fifth season, Culber still struggles to cope with the unfathomable experience of Trill scientist Janal Bix taking up residence in his body and mind. Culber has existential concerns after being taken over by a Trill, and he thinks that discovering the Progenitors technology will bring him the answers he needs. Unfortunately for Hugh, Paul Stamets, his spouse, is a man of science, and Hugh feels he cannot express his thoughts to him because of Culber's incomprehensible questions. Lieutenant Sylvia Tilly lends Hugh a sympathetic ear, but Hugh thinks that what the USS Discovery discovers when it locates the Progenitors' treasure may hold the answers Dr. Culber seeks. In Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Culber, who has already died and been resurrected, may encounter a novel situation involving crucial choices that could mean the difference between life and death. Where the treasure clue of Star Trek Discovery's next Progenitors leads, the following hint has to do with water. Captain Burnham acquired the third clue from Moll and L'ak, which is a vial of water contained within a piece of the Progenitors' treasure map. Burnham is waiting for Commander Stamets to conduct a chemical analysis of the water, which will reveal where the USS Discovery must go next for the fourth clue. However, Michael told Book that Dr. Cho, the former Terran scientist who became a Starfleet admiral, went back to the ISS Enterprise in interdimensional space and hid her clue to the Progenitors' technology there. Burnham and Book pondered the teachings associated with every hint. On Trill, Burnham and Booker had to demonstrate their value for life forms other than their own before they could uncover Janal's hint. The lesson on Lyrek's first clue was the significance of cultural context. As the hunt for the Progenitors' wealth and the answers to life itself continues in Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Michael reasoned that the lesson Dr. Cho left behind with her clue on the ISS Enterprise was to have the hope to shape your own future.